How the CIA brought LSD into the population for mind control with proof. So today we're going to talk about a series of hundreds top secret experiments conducted by the CIA with the codename MK Ultra. MK Ultra was a consequence of the Project Artichoke, a mind control program that gathered information together with the intelligence divisions of the Army, Navy, Air Force and FBI. This took place in 1952. The CIA sought to establish control over what is perceived as the weaker and less intelligent segments of society, or for potential agents, defectors, refugees, POWs, and others. Now, in 1952, LSD was increasingly given to unknowing CIA agents to determine the drug's effects on unsuspecting people. One record states that an agent was kept on LSD for 77 days straight. The overseas operations took place in locations throughout Europe, Japan, Southeast Asia and the Philippines. The project MK Ultra started in 1953, a year after Project Artichoke, and it lasted up until 1973. It all started with Alan Dulles, the longest serving and then head of the CIA, working together with the head of the operation, a chemist called Sidney Gottlieb. He arranged to pay $240,000 or a little over 2.5 million accounted for inflation for the whole world supply of LSD. The journalist Stephen Kinzer, who spent several years investigating the program, calls the operation the most sustained search in history for techniques of mind control. Many of his unwitting subjects endured psychological torture ranging from electroshocks to high doses of LSD, according to Kinzer's research. Gottlieb wanted to create a way to seize the control of people's minds, and he realized it was a two-part process. First, you have to blast away the existing mind. Second, you have to find a way to insert a new mind into the resulting void. They didn't get too far on number 2, but they did a lot of work on number 1. A lot of the experiments were done on prisoners, but also on volunteers. Many of the volunteers found it actually very pleasurable, but who are these people? The author Ken Casey got his LSD from MK Ultra, so did Robert Hunter, the lyricist for Grateful Dead, which went on and became a great purveyor of LSD culture. Allen Ginsberg, the poet who preached the value of the great personal adventure of using LSD, got his LSD from the project as well. So, the CIA brought LSD into America unwittingly, and actually it's a tremendous irony that the drug that the CIA hoped would be the key to controlling humanity actually wound up fueling a generational rebellion that was dedicated to destroying everything the CIA held dear and defended. Whitey Bulger was one of the prisoners who volunteered for what he was told to be an experiment aimed at finding a cure for schizophrenia. As part of this experiment, he was given LSD every day for more than a year. Bulger said, "I thought I was going insane. I was in prison for committing a crime, but they committed a greater crime on me." The CIA mind control project was essentially a continuation of the work that began in Japanese and Nazi concentration camps. Not only was it roughly based on those experiments, but the CIA actually hired the torturers who had worked in these Japanese and Nazi concentration camps to come and explain what they had found so they can build further on their research. For example, Nazi doctors who had conducted extensive experiments with mescaline at the Dachau concentration camps. The CIA saw this as something good, I guess, so they hired these exact Nazi doctors who had been involved in that specific project to advise them. Basically, the CIA at the time was like an organization with the morals of the angel of death, Dr. Josef Mengele. Overseas, they would just grab agents from other enemy countries and throw them into cells and do all kinds of tests on them. Not just drugs, potions, but other techniques like electroshocks, extremes of temperature, sensory isolation, which America still uses recently in, for example, Guantanamo Bay, all in the meantime bombarding them with questions, trying to see if they could break down the resistance and find a way to destroy the human ego. How Gottlieb tried to cover up most of his evidence. At the end of his career, Gottlieb actually drove out to the CIA Records Center and ordered the archives to destroy boxes full of MK Ultra records. However, it turns out that there were still some records found in other places. There was a depot for expense account reports that hadn't been destroyed, and various other pieces of paper remained. So there was enough out there to reconstruct some of what he did, but his efforts to wipe away his traces by destroying all those documents in the early 70s was quite successful. Now, let me hear your thoughts on these extremely inhumane neo-Nazi experiments the US government and the CIA did. I personally find it truly disturbing, and it makes me think that the CIA doesn't actually have the best intentions for the people of the world. But that is just my opinion. Let me hear yours down in the comments below.